Hello and good morning. Happy Friday. It is rainy here in the Baton Rouge area. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that, but
not here.
I know Mark and I. Yeah, you live in the desert. Desert dweller. Hello. Oh, hi, Will McCullen on YouTube. How are you?
Hello.
Today we have Mark Liggett, a cybersecurity leader in the industry. I'm so excited that Mark is here today because I just realized it literally like 2 minutes ago as I was looking through the YouTube channels. This is officially our 100th episode of the Coffee Table Talks, the titled Coffee Table Talk. It's a little thing for me. I don't know. It is. I'm so excited. And it makes so much sense that Mark is here because Mark was one of the very first folks in the industry when he was a CISO at Tulane that did not make faces when I asked 1,000 stupid questions. Not one face, not one bad face. He was always informative and helpful and broke it down in a way that I could understand. And it's amazing. Absolutely. I love you for that, Mark. So for
absolutely.
That's the heart of an educator.
It is. It is. For those of you that might be new, hi, I'm Rachel Arnold, the Human API with Secure Nation. For more events like this one, go ahead and click the QR code in the upper left, and it will take you to the Secure Nation LinkedIn page where you can follow, and then you will get posts about events that are coming up. Normally, we do these on Fridays. Every once in a while, we had a surprise episode this week, so I am tired because we went to B-Sides, New Orleans on Wednesday and spent all day hanging out, networking, resources. Y'all, I watched a newcomer to the IT cybersecurity field get so many resources from our good friends at Tech Systems on leads for his first job. He's not even out of college yet. Like, I'm so excited.
So Rachel, how many fingers?
5. So
okay, you're fine. You're good.
So this is Will McCullen, the program manager at the Cybersecurity Center for Excellence at Pima Community College in Tucson, Arizona. I still did that right. And apparently Meg is letting me know that it's not letting her comment on LinkedIn. So that is unfortunate. It does not go to a Venmo, Chris.
Not yet. Right? We can, that's a quick change.
But
I
have a Venmo. If you would like to send me coffee money, I will happily share it with you. Happily.
We're crowdsourcing our Starbucks now?
Sir, welcome to the dawn of the new age. So now that we have everybody in there. Oh, look, we see you, Obsidian. That is my husband, for those of you that don't know. I know I totally outed. He joins from YouTube, so these secret. I don't make it a secret. It feels so weird that I'm like, hi. Like he's not in the next room working and listening in at the same time. Thank you, Kim. Thanks for the 100th episode. Congratulations. Yeah, we love that. So without further ado,
I apologize to you guys. I didn't realize I'm wearing the hallucinogenic shirt.
Oh yeah, it is. Where like every time you move.
Yeah. So anybody that's anybody in Colorado, hint, be cool. It's just my shirt.
Yeah, he's not AI. Really, he's not AI.
He is not artificially intelligent. He is real intelligent. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with the artificial, but the intelligence thing, we'll see how it goes in about 45 minutes. I'll vote in on that.
Nice. So, Mark, when you and I met, CISO Tulane, right? We already mentioned that part. So, but that wasn't where you started, obviously.
No, well, clear. And to be clear, it was a great time. I think it was at a nexus of cybersecurity and kind of breaking down that, security being a black box. We were kind of coming forward. We just lost our CISO. I was filling in. So it's kind of the interim CISO and having a lot of support till the next CISO came in right about the time I departed. So it was a really dynamic time for me, and I'm sure for the people around me. But that, getting there, it took me a minute. That I guess the idea of CISO was always like, the corporate structure, right? You always rise in the corporate structure. Worker, you come into the mailroom and you work your way real hard, and then you're a manager or supervisor, then you're a manager, and you kind of climb the corporate. Um, and that was kind of what I was thinking CISO was, uh,
Right.
but I wasn't quite prepared for being a technical CISO. And there are really two types. There's the technical, that's someone that kind of has the technical chops
Right.
and can work and still contribute to the team, as well as interface with the board and the executive management. There's also the kind of non-technical CISOs that they are excellent managers, resources, visionaries. They integrate well to the board and the executive team, but they have to have a very strong trust to their team. They have to go, I may not 100% know what you're telling me, but I trust when you tell me that this is an issue, that it is an issue. And I take that trust forward with me because I relay that message to the CFO, the CIO, whoever your partners are in the CISO world. And we'll talk about that. Uh, that trust has to be there. And that was something that it took a little bit of time to learn, that there are other CISOs in the world and there's different ways to operate. But in the end, that trust model is going to come up over and over and over again.
Right.
Um, and I was speaking engagements last week, and kind of had some fun with that. And Rachel, you definitely remember one of them. Uh, but the key piece was, and this was put to me a couple months ago. You have to have a friend in the CISO world. You have to have a friend above you. You got, whether it's your CIO, your CFO, somebody above you has to take your ideas, your issues, your concerns, and move them forward in a trusted manner that they are heard.
Right.
I think the number one issue that technologists, especially CISOs, fall into is we talk about what could be. It might happen. It may happen. This thing could happen. It becomes the boogeyman
Yeah.
very quickly. And it's very easy to start being overwhelmed if you're receiving that message to where you're not really listening anymore because it's not really tangible. You're not talking a quick language that really transfers to an executive level. Um,
Right.
but if you can find that resource, whether direct from the CISO to the CFO or CEO of the board, or you have an intermediary to there, so long as that message is getting there in a really strong way, things like resource allocation, budgets become a lot easier to grow. And it becomes a lot easier to ask for a new tool or go in a new direction or incorporate more of the direction you're going because you have advocates that can actually make that happen for you.
Right. So how bad is it whenever you don't have that person?
All right, so it's pretty terrible. So the first thing is yeah, and I'm definitely the servant leader or savant if you want to like Rain Man, but not good with numbers. That's kind of me. Uh, but you have to look out for your team. If you're a good CISO, you should be a good buffer between the management reporting structure, the kind of the insanity that's at the executive level, manager or executive level. You have
Yeah.
to buffer that from your team because your team's real busy. Uh, and I say this, and you've heard me say it before. I apologize for repeating it, but I've always made sure my teams are not more than 85% at capacity. And the reason why is because when the incidents and events happen, when there's a potential breach, and I say breaches of the indetermination of the incident that occurred. But if there's an incident happening and that incident is severe enough, you'll be at 120% for days or weeks. And if you do not have any reserve energy or ability or capacity in the tank, you're going to burn out and you're going to burn out quick. I've had people in 3 days. of being in an incident talking about leaving. I've had people in 3 days start making more mistakes than the attackers did, and they start opening up ports for the attackers to get out of again. Um, People shutting servers off was my favorite. People shutting servers off without letting anybody know. And we're like, oh my God, the attackers have just taken the database down. No, they didn't. Joe just turned the database off because he was freaked out because he saw, a connection that was the IR team trying to pull data off the database. So those are the things that, it's really hard to kind of buffer sometimes. But if you don't have that advocate moving upwards, then what you wind up doing is sitting in meetings going, we had 700 attacks last week, and we put 700, we solved them all. So that doesn't sound like it's anything. Like, all right, you batted 1,000. So why are we talking about it? Or if you go to the meeting and go, we have 4 live incidents right now, and I shouldn't be here, but I have a Monday morning meeting, so this is what we do. It you never get above that meeting. You never get outside the doors of that meeting. The CIO may help. Other managers, if you're in a big enough department, you'll have you'll have the network team, you'll have the infrastructure team, you have the physical team, whatever. They have their own issues. They're not going to move that conversation forward.
Oh yeah, I can understand 100. Having been there at times, right, where when you are addressing any kind of problem, and then all of a sudden the sun is coming up the next morning, and the world really hates you. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Been there and done that, and you brought up just a ton of items right there that really cool to unpack a little bit, because you have everything from what you would pick up in a business impact analysis, right? Which is the practical aspect of picking up an entire organization and figuring out where you need to apply resources, where you need to apply things to be able to keep the organization going. And that the CISO is in the position of trying to have that organizational full viewpoint of how do we practically keep this whole of the wheels on the car and everything still moving and going that way, and being able to take the complexity of that and explain that to all the decision makers, and at the same time, as you talked about, creating a whole atmosphere of enablement, of creating an atmosphere where people can trust and know that they are secure and know that they um, that you've got their backs. That is a huge, when you put all that together, that's massive. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, and again, you don't have to read too many articles of cybersecurity. You know, there's a talent shortage, or there's too many jobs in it. Either way you want to look at it, but the key piece is people are like, oh, we have so much turnover in security. I'm like, well, is that a management thing, or is that just the industry? Because there's enough money out there in the cybersecurity world that, yeah, you're going to lose people that, you know, people have bills, people got to get paid. Understand that. But if someone signs into your company and the environment is not fulfilling in terms of intellectual or curiosity space, then it's not really a good environment. Um, I have to be a little tighter in the business space than in educational space, but I'm okay with that, with mistakes, right? First strike, that's okay. Second strike, we need to talk. Third strike, if you're not writing this down by now, then we're going to have to, the next stop is HR, and I don't want you to go to HR because I'm going to be there. Well, yeah, he downed the production system again. That's not a conversation you want to have. But it's okay, and it's okay. Rachel, you said when we first met, you had questions, complete legit questions. You were trying to learn a new business, completely legit. The worst thing you do to someone who's curious is to kill that curiosity.
Right.
And Rachel was super curious about what these things, and would send me messages. What does this mean? And I'm like, oh, easy. And I put it into terms that were, analogous to something she would know, right? Drinking coffee. What does this mean? Well, imagine if you filled your coffee up and it had just a little extra something in it, and that was bad for you. Like, let's say poison. And that would be an art cache poison, right? Something you normally do all the time, but it had just a little bit in it and it destroyed your art tables. Or your art tables are now going across the DNS in a different way than they're intended to. And that was Rachel's like, I get it, and that was the best. When the person asks a question, you tell them, you give them an answer, and they're like, okay, I get it now. That's the best moment in life.
I gave Mark lots of those moments.
Yeah, it helps. It absolutely helps be a better person. One of the things, and few people, I mean this in a most highly complimentary way. I don't know but anyone in technology that's not somewhere on the autism spectrum. I'm there. I'll admit it freely. I'm there, and I'm okay with that. Um, but one of the key things that people also are in IT, generally kind of, a little nervous sometimes. Well, sometimes anxiety kind of bubbles in a little bit, and that's okay too. But if someone asks for help, it's human nature to offer help, to give help. And if you can be honest and authentic with your help and offer or say, I don't know, but let's find out together, make that path together. That's a human trait that I'm seeing more and more of in security now, but
Yay.
10 or 15 years ago, you could not find that. It was extremely rare. I worked with a few people that actually we had that environment, we had that culture baked in, and that was some of the most rewarding years of work that I've done in cybersecurity.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
that
I've seen other people be parts of environments that aren't like that, and just come across these negative spaces that are just really awful, and they make you feel awful for asking questions, and those people shut down immediately, and it's like this trauma that it takes forever for them to bounce back from, like way more time than anybody should ever try to have to cope with that. And where now they're distrusting of every human that they come across that they may want to ask a question of, but they're afraid of how they're going to be viewed or how annoyed the other person is going to get or something like that. It's so important in our industry to be empathetic and open and caring, right? I mean, yeah, it gets annoying. So before I would go and ask Mark questions, I would go and do my own research first. Like I would Google foo and ask questions that way and read everything I could on something. And then if there was something that I still didn't understand, that's when I would go to folks in my life like Mark. That's when I would go, look, I looked this stuff up. I tried. It's too much. I don't understand the concept. Can you help paint a better picture? Because this isn't working. And that's why I say I'm a conversational learner, is because
Yeah,
concepts and topics really resonate better and are more embedded in my brain once I have a conversation about those things with someone as a sounding board to make sure that I'm understanding the concept and how it's applied. So I mean, absolutely love finding Mark in my life. And that's all John Davis's fault, I think. But
well, thanks to you and John because it's a never a dull moment,
right.
and it's always good. I mean, I've never not seen you guys where I've not had to kind of reel in the smiles because I'm just like, oh, there's Rachel, there's John, and it's just it's like family, but it's always a good and maybe that's it. Maybe that's why it's so easy to work with you guys because a you guys are doing or self-enabled to a really high extent. So when you come to me and have a question or ask me to do something, I know you've already taken care of the basics. So even level setting that conversation, just so I make sure that I'm not creating a gap in my assistance to you, is fantastic. And that's a great takeaway as well in management or security that you will hand things off. You will have separation of duties. You'll have different areas of expertise.
Right.
Make sure that in that handoff that you're overlapped a little bit at least, because otherwise you're going to have a gap. And someone's like, "Did you unplug the server?" Uh, no. Did you press the power button? No, I thought you did. I didn't.
Uh-oh.
So those things have a way to kind of come back to you in odd ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what Josh said. Josh said, explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yeah.
We were hanging out with Ryan Cloutier this week. He's in town for the InfraGard event, right? You were
Right.
on the
Oh
panel.
yeah, yeah.
That
Ryan's
one.
awesome.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
Does it feel like that long ago? It was like Tuesday. But we did a local InfraGard event for the chapter here where and Mark was part of the panel and Ryan as well. And Ryan mentioned something to me where he like I've heard other people say explain it to me like I'm 5, but he added something to it that I thought was even better, which was explain it to me like I'm 5 and only know how to finger paint. Like really paint me a picture. Seriously.
Yeah, we're pretty excited because he's going to be down later next week at
Oh,
HEMA.
great. That's awesome.
Nice.
So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And yeah, what has it been in the past with this industry where it seems like everybody needs to be able to hold their tail higher than the others, and
Yeah.
instead, if we can get rid of that culture to where we're helping each other out, but for that to happen, right, that you need to have that atmosphere that folks are safe. And that's up from what you described, that's up to the leadership to provide, right? Because there's no faster way to kill creativity than to have a toxic environment.
Yeah. So, and I, this is gonna be a little off topic if there is a topic.
There isn't. It's just us.
Perfect. So I I didn't not want any. I've worked with students. I've worked with people that were interns. They become junior level workers and kind of often to great careers, and that's fantastic. So I see that progression. But I've always been concerned that the starting process, and unfortunately this was my starting process too. My early days of cybersecurity was about who was the biggest hacker, who was the most, this, who was the baddest that, who could do, and it was a huge stacked ranking of ego. And that really did not help light the fire of young people. I came out of a lot of classes. I'd go into classes going, I don't even know why I'm here. This is not my game. This is not my jam. I know nothing about this. Coming out of it going, okay, I have the power of knowledge now. Now I'm going to do the rote learning. I'm going to put this into my lab. I'm going to do a bunch of stuff. But I had no one to ask questions about it because everyone was like, "Oh, you're such a noob." I'm like, yeah, and you were too last year. So can we just get beyond that, name calling?
Right.
So what I did, and Rachel's a member, and if you're fortunate enough to have a local group in your city or area, I started a group, and the foundational membership of the group in the foundational meeting, there were three things we needed to do. We are open, we are inviting, and we are positive. And that's it. And I said, if you can't be those three things, this isn't the group for you. No, no problem. You can leave. I'm not gonna, or enjoy the rest of the, food and drinks. We're good, and we're good. But that's going to be the thing. And when I look out at our group, I don't see a bunch of people trying to stack rank each other. What I see is almost the community of Baton Rouge, the demographics of Baton Rouge being represented, and it makes me feel good because I have people that are just curious about cybersecurity to seasoned professionals, and we're all in a good space where we're asking good questions. We're talking to each other as humans,
Yeah.
and we are connecting to each other at a level that will help grow this industry in ways and directions that I couldn't imagine 10 years ago.
Amen.
What's the group name, Mark?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Greater Baton Rouge Cybersecurity. We go under BRSec. There it is. Nice. There's even a QR code that does not go to my Venmo account, fortunately.
It doesn't.
Uh,
I think it's a
but
sign
yeah,
up for the next one, actually.
it's right, and we have things. The next one coming up because we're getting close to graduation time for the colleges around Baton Rouge, and in general, we're having a hack the interview, hack your resume. and perfect. So people, adults and students or recent grads can come in, bring their resume. We'll put a couple of highlights in it. Say you should, this looks good, change these or make these improvements, and then how to hack the interview, what to do, what not to do in the interview. Have your questions, things like that. It may seem simple, but it's hard to get lost in that, especially if you're interviewing or working with people that aren't in security. Um, I can tell you right now, applicant tracking systems have killed more good hires in the interview process than anything else I can think of. I mean, uh, it's a challenge. But if you don't know it exists, if you don't know how to get through those algorithms, then you already have a barrier to being hired. And that's one of those things that it's a great question, but I don't think anyone would ask that because you don't know what kind of system you're in, and you can't figure out why I'm perfect for this job, but I'm not getting callbacks or I'm not getting interviews back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of how much we need to restore humanity to the system, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Rachel brings up all the time with networking. That's where all these different events and things like that become important because, I mean, let's face it, folks, especially from those of us that have been in this business for quite a while. Has anyone achieved the spot of really knowing it all? No. And it ain't going to happen. Give it a week and you're out of date. So we gotta pull together and work together. And I applaud that, sir. Thank you so much. It's needed more and more in this industry.
Awesome. Yeah, and anyone in the audience that is at the top of their career, think about this. And if you're a Star Wars fan, it'll make sense. If you're not, I'll explain it. And contact me and we'll have a brief session. Uh, at some point, you got to stop being Luke Skywalker. You got to be Yoda. And I can I can create a lot more Luke Skywalker or Luke Skywalker-ish people than I can create Yodas. And it does, I don't do half the things I used to do. I don't need to really. Technology's changed quite a bit. Uh, but I have a group of people, part of my network, that I know if I need help, I can ask them directly. If someone's like, hey, I'm trying to do some DevSecOps, and I'm like, I'm not the DevSecOps guy, but I got friends that are. Let's get you guys together and talk. And that's the best resource you can have. It may be a little salesy. It's no one has Rolodex anymore, or Nerd Hero Rolodex, as recently saw. But that's what LinkedIn's about. That's what your friend groups are about. Keep them tight, keep them fed, feed into them, because those will be the people that you need for your career and for the rest of your mental health and career in your mental health.
Oh yeah, if you need a contact, talk to Rachel. Right? She's not the human API for nothing, right? She literally is the one to talk to.
Yep. It's a thing. It's a thing. That's how I got that little tagline of the human API. So if you guys don't know what APIs do, they're application protocol interfaces, go look that up real quick. Come back and you'll go, oh, yeah, that's kind of. Oh, hey, Ryan, what's up? I think Jacob had a question. Do each of you feel like having a positive servant leader work environment is key in keeping the iron hot with both new and seasoned professionals?
Well, so and I've grown into this position. I didn't start out there. And no offense to Will. Will's like, no one can know it all. Well, at one point I did. At one point when Wi-Fi was new, I had it locked down on at all levels, and that lasted about a week, as Will said. So for that 1 week though, that 1 week, I was a subject matter expert. I
Yeah,
was
buddy.
white papering my butt off. Uh, and then the next week, someone's like, "You're all wrong." I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right." But those days are gone. So being a servant leader, I try to stay current. I try to help, but try to identify the I'm not. I have gaps. We all have gaps. I have gaps. Can someone else? Is someone else on my team able to fill that gap? Have I hired the right person so we're not blindsided? Um, and looking into my crystal ball of security, in the next 6 to 12 months, uh, what's going to be there that we need to start focusing on? What skills do we not have? And that's it's a little hard. But I will say it's an amazing amount for cybersecurity professionals and IT professionals in general. If you give us something to work on, we will work on. If you give us a new tool or a new technology to play with, we will play with it. We may not come out with much from it, but we may also come out with a new business case, a new use case, where this one thing is going to have downstream effects that were unforeseen by the salespeople or by the use cases from the product manager. And we're doing something completely new and innovative, and we are at the top level of our game because our curiosity and our ability to work in a friendly environment allows us to explore ourselves and our technology.
I yeah, we are about to have descend upon us Friday of next week. Ryan's going to come down and he's going to be covering weird and wacky things that you can do with AI locally and playing and manipulating that, right? Which is yet another tool, but is going to be a very, very powerful tool. I
Yeah.
would say, and tell me what you think about this, that I think where we need to really start focusing heavily is on the practical humanity of things, to be able to take all these incredible inputs, directions, and focus like you've been talking about, turning it into a team to where we can work with each other. Because with everything that's coming against us, especially the way the political environment has been getting more and more prickly worldwide, we've got massive challenges coming up. And if we don't get practical about this, and as you've talked about, we've got to start kicking the ego out and and really delve into the problem aspects of it, we're going to be in a great deal of difficulty. Would you not agree?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And again, it seems like last week, but it was actually only Tuesday. I was talking about AI in a panel, and there were some very good takes. Ryan, especially, yeah, he warned us we would all be very scared by the time he was done speaking. It wasn't that bad, but
That's because
uh,
we're already dead inside, Mark.
yeah, well, that was kind of the. I only said we're all doomed twice, so that was a real positive. The over under on that was 3.
I don't know why, but when Ryan says we're all doomed, people are like, "Oh no!" When Mark says we're all doomed, I don't know why, but people seem to take it better. I don't know what it is about your your demeanor or everybody's like, "We're all doomed," but I think Mark is gonna take care of us, maybe.
We're going to be doomed, but there's going to be a way out, right? There's going to be a way to kind of offset some of that problem. But yeah, I think the what's coming with AI, hopefully, um, there's going to be a ton of negative. There's no doubt about it. Just
Yeah.
that's every technology change, tons of negative. We went to client server, that was a ton of negative. Everyone's like, oh, that'll be the end of mainframes. Mainframes are still around in some places you don't want to know about.
Oh
And
yeah,
there's
do you remember the episode, Will, where we talked to a
Uh-huh.
somebody that was specifically like subject matter
Yes.
expert mainframes? Yeah, you can go look that up on the YouTube channel. They do still exist. Mark is correct. That's all I wanted to
Oh,
say. Sorry. I
uh,
interrupted.
we live here at IBM, folks. Our students go down to the data centers and see those great big refrigerators. They're heavily in use.
Yeah, and like I said, some industries you would not think that, and the fact they are very concerning. But at the same time, mainframes almost never break. When they do, though, it's spectacular. Let me just say that.
I like how much joy is in your face when you say it's spectacular. Like it's a fireworks show that nobody else is doing.
You know, but the good part, with AI coming, hopefully we can do less of the mundane administrative stuff. So when we all come to the office, the first
Yeah.
hour we spend, kind of going through the alerts, the notifications, let's go red, yellow, green, let's how we prioritize and stack that. Maybe we can get away from that. Maybe we can get away from that to where we're doing something a little better, like maybe threat intel. So we're no longer doing administrative. Now we're doing threat intel or threat hunting in our network. And we're finding things that just started to make sense. And if anyone out there has ever looked at a log, frankly, this is why I'm partially blind and bald, because logs killed me internally. It really sucked the soul out of me. But logs teach you a couple things that one alert at low, that one person pinging your network from inside, you're like, it's probably nothing. But if you saw 10 of those in about a minute or less from different IPs, you'd be like, yeah, maybe there's something there. I would like AI to be able to take care of the back end stuff. So when I look at that, I can go, you know what, I need to hunt this down. What on earth is going on right now? I need to hunt that down. And AI may be able to help me with that. But AI is not going to know things like how my network is structured, that this IP address range goes to this particular building, or we've reserved this set of IP addresses or this domain space for something specific. It's not going to know that. It's just going to know a number. Um, so we have to use that. Our intelligence will be challenged. Our innovation hopefully will rise. But if we could do less of the soul killing stuff like log reading and do more of the things like active defense, we're not going to stop AI attacking us. And the only way to fight against it is turn AI back out towards the perimeter or beyond. If we can do that, then we'll be one step ahead of the people trying to attack. And I think there's a real opportunity there before quantum computing comes online. Before that happens, we have a chance to maybe rewrite a little bit of our IT history into a way that we can almost level set with the attackers. And that's been a missing piece forever in cybersecurity.
Yeah, I
I
like
love
that
your
idea.
whole
Make the
message.
needle glow in the haystack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love how optimistic Mark is.
Go ahead.
And like I just do. You bring hope into my life all the time.
Thank you. I'm glad I could do that because I've seen some really terrible things, and yet I'm still here standing. So there is some optimism out
Well, technically I think you're sitting, but yeah, I get
there.
it.
I got a camera.
Yeah. Well, I would agree with the tear your hair out scenario. I think that is a real good indicator that would.
Is that what happened to you, Will? Is that what happened? That's what happened. Yeah, I see you. So Mark, let's talk about BRSec event real quick. The next one that's coming up, you said we're gonna do interviewing and like basically getting into the industry type stuff. Because look, the reason why I think that we need to remention is because I just noticed that Quinn Moore joined via YouTube. Q Moore 007. This is the IT student that I watched get some really great advice, by the way, that I mentioned earlier at the
Nice.
yeah. This is him. Go say hi to Quinn, everybody. Anywho, but yeah, what's the BRSec, the next one? Because Quinn, you need to put this on your calendar. All right, all the students in the Baton Rouge area too, and any professionals that might be watching today, come on, you can meet Quinn and give him all sorts of war story and advice. Okay, you'll be able to spot him. He's got real poofy hair. It's like a fro.
So this one's BRSec, and I try to schedule a couple months out so we can kind of match things that are happening. But this one's BRSec. We are going to focus on hacking the interview and hacking your resume. So if you come to the event, unfortunately we don't stream it. There's privacy and things we don't want to deal with. We're going to look at things to do and not do in the interview, things to prep for. And I think one of the things, and I will mention it if it's not. Always ask a question, and always ask a question that you already know the answer to, but ask that question to the person. And don't go to their website and read their mission statement. Don't do that. No one cares about their mission statement. They do. Someone did. They wrote it, but no one cares about it. Don't ask it. Ask like, it looks like you guys are growing in this direction. From what what I read and researched, it looked like you're going in this direction. That's interesting. That's How does that play into the core business model? And that's not a technology question. That's challenging your interviewer, tell them about the company. And if they tell it right, you'll get an understanding of, is this a company that's stable enough to hire me for the next 3 or 4 years? Um, those are great questions. And if you read the responses correctly, you'll get answers that will tell you whether it's not a place you want to work. Not what did last guy leave? Last guy left because he won the lottery. That doesn't get you anything. So we're going to have hacking the interview and hacking your resume. There are common mistakes on resumes. A lot of people like to say what they do. A lot of bullet points of I am X, Y, and Z, but they don't put it in context of I innovated to save time. I innovated to save money. I took complexity away from a process, so now it has better uptime. If you put it into context, that's a great and engaging story, and people will remember that. If you say, I know Linux, Windows, Mac, and routers, TCP, if you say that, people are like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's very, very powerful. Anytime you can take your experience and turn it into a story, anytime you can humanize it, because companies are asking for all over the place the soft skills, being able to articulate what you do and what you talk about, and being able to demonstrate that in an interview, 100%,
Right.
just
Yeah.
by experiential elements.
Y'all go check out that episode we did a couple back with Mark Liggett, another great Mark, from Whirlpool. He's a cybersecurity leader with Whirlpool. And
Yeah, that was good.
to relate to Mark's comment about the type of questions you ask, Mark offered his whole list of questions that he personally takes into interviews to anyone who messaged him. Harass him. I said so.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
He offered, man. He offered. Like, how cool? How cool are the people? I love you guys so much. Oh, I met a fan at which one? Yep, it's coming. B-sides. At B-sides this week. Somebody, you guys, it was the weirdest thing. Somebody came up to me, it's Brian Mills, and he shook my hand and told me he didn't want it to sound creepy, but he'd been following me for a long time. Now, if you're not in the cybersecurity industry on LinkedIn, right? Somebody walking up to you going, I've been following you right now. But Brian is cool as he could be, cool as a cucumber cool, right? Like he's just the nicest human ever. I love meeting you guys. If you guys ever find me at an event, come say hi, like immediately. Like don't wait. Don't be nervous. I'm going to stop whoever I'm talking to and acknowledge you. Okay? I am not that cool. I'm just not. You can just hi and I'll hug you probably like I did Brian. I forgot to ask permission first. So Brian, sorry if I violated any boundaries. I just hugged you. It was a thing that happened. But that was like
So Rachel is that cool, but also she loves people. So
I actually like humans. I like them. They're pretty neat and squishy and always learn something new. So
Yeah. So there's a question when BRSec is. So BRSec is the third Wednesday of the month. It is from 6 to 7:30. Everyone gets there a little early. Everyone stays a little late. Don't be afraid if you're not punctual. We don't do December because it's really close to Christmas, and Thanksgiving's usually a little light. But yeah, we are. We just did our first year. We just passed our first year, and the LinkedIn group has 320 members, which is phenomenal because every couple days I get notifications of if someone wants to join, that stuff grew pretty quick. Um, and it just, but as Rachel said, when Rachel comes, it's another energy level too, no
Aw,
doubt. Uh,
aw, is it really?
yeah, because everyone's already in a like meet greet and yeah, but if Rachel comes in, everyone's like, I've seen I've seen coffee table talks, and I've seen her, and who's that, and everyone kind of just the noise level rises a little bit, and the conversations rise a little bit,
It's
and
because
it's
I'm loud.
Woohoo!
I'm so
That's
loud.
the power of Rachel, man.
yeah.
I am involved. You guys don't understand. I am either the worst or the best person to invite to your presentation, whatever it is. All right. You tell me, hold all your questions till the end. Absolutely not. I might though, because most of the things that I say in the middle of your presentation is like vocal agreeing with you, like just out loud. You'll be, oh man, it was so bad. I went and saw Joshua Copeland's he's going to be a guest, by the way. I went and saw Joshua Copeland's
Oh,
presentation
nice.
at B-Sides. Y'all, the whole time I was sitting center row, right dead square in the middle of the crowd, directly behind his partner, Miss Katie, who is awesome. But I swear, every 5 seconds, I was so like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you tell him again, man. Like I was so glad he was not even deterred. Like it wasn't distracting. So if you want me to come see your presentation, realize I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. Like, just it's gonna happen.
It's awesome.
I can't be quiet.
So
It's hard.
Rob Fox had a statement about employers look at the soft skills more so than the tech skills.
That
And
one. It's that one.
yeah, perfect. So my philosophy is I can teach you all the tech skills you'll ever want, need, or desire. I can't teach you how to be a nice person. Um, uh, one of my secret interview questions, and we can talk about interview process next time, but one of my secret interview questions is tell me about a time that's not on your resume that you worked with a customer facing environment when you were high school, college, whatever. You worked at a restaurant, you worked at a department store, you did something. And they're like, well, I worked at, I worked at Macy's or I worked at, this store. I'm like, all right, yeah, I know that store. Tell me about a customer that just, had a really negative experience and was
Can I
venting that to you.
can I answer
And
this one?
they're,
I'm gonna
wait,
answer.
wait, but yeah, but they talk about that. I'm like, okay, wow, that sounds, sounds wild. How'd you deal with that?
Can I?
And
No.
that answer is what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is not the person that I punched him in the face and I got fired. What I'm looking for is someone said that I went to a manager, explained the situation, and excused myself, or we tried to de-escalate the customer's issue. Um, and
Showed
I learned a
empathy.
lot from that moment. Yeah, and that's why I look for that, and I look for the sell. And here's why. Oh, when I was in college, God, forever ago. Uh,
It was yesterday. What are you talking about?
yeah, one of the professors gave me a guest lecture, came in and said, "What do you guys do for a living?" And we're like, "We're college students." He's like, "Wrong, you're in sales." And we're all like, "I'm not in sales. I'm a college student." He goes, "You're in sales, and you'll be in sales for the rest of your life because you'll always be trying to sell your ideas,
Yep.
your premises,
Yep.
your work ethic. You're
Yep.
always trying to sell something.
Yep.
You'll never get away from that. Some are better than others, but you're always going to try to sell something. And I look for people that try to sell their ideas. And that's what I look for the most out of department stores, restaurants, not really fast food, because they're selling ideas. Someone comes in and goes, I need a shirt. What kind of shirt are you looking for? I'm looking for a dress shirt that makes hallucinogenic markings on videos.
Perfect.
Like,
Mark bought
I
one.
have a shirt for you. Let me show you what we have over here. Right? Because what that person's done is within a few questions distill down this nebulous world that's around them and
Yep.
to focus on a shirt that the person wants and then give them options to choose and always give someone an option. Otherwise, it's not an option, it's a demand. Uh, and let them pick it out. And when they pick it out, they're like, what do you think about this? Well, clearly that's the first thing they pick. It's what they like the most. It looks great. or that's not really your color. Let's pick and choose something else. But that's the sell idea, and we always do that. We sell 100 times a day. You just don't know it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rachel. Go tell me your answer.
No, you're
Tell me
fine.
your
So
answer.
we're talking about a customer de-escalation, right? Okay. So many moons ago. Okay, maybe not that many moons ago because I'm going to age myself. Once upon a little Rachel. There we go. I worked for Waffle House. I was a short order cook. I was.
Oh, I could trigger you so easy.
You can't though. This is where the dead inside started, y'all. I worked third shift.
Ooh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when it comes to dealing with the general public who have maybe gone off the rails a bit, add alcohol and whatever other pills you can stack that high. Okay. And then give it glass ketchup bottles to throw. And that was how I can equate my very first time that I ever had a ticket put in. Glass bottle comes flying by my head, smashes over everything. And the guy is like, I said I wanted coffee. And I was like, cool. So this is how I de-escalated and dealt with this customer. I immediately put everything down, remained calm, told everybody else to remain calm. I went and got a to-go cup of coffee on the house. And as I am walking towards this person, I'm also hurting them without touching them because then you can be sued for assault. Out the door to where I walked them on further down the sidewalk to the edge of the building and said, would you like anything else with your coffee? You wait right here and I will go get it for you. And they were like, that's all I effing wanted, right? Like they're still a bit, whatever. I'm like, look, just hang out here for a few minutes. I'll be right back with your cream and sugar. Went inside. We called the cops and then got cream and sugar, right? Because I was 18 years old, working night shift. I know how to de-escalate a situation in my lane, right? But this is a violent person, obviously, and worked through de-escalation, but also called on, my local law enforcement, the appropriate people to deal with this, and got them involved. When I walked back inside, I actually did bring that person their creamer and their sugar because I was like, if I'm going to have the cops called on me, I would like to at least have a decent cup of coffee before I go.
Word, at least, maybe some smothered and covered too. Is it too late for that?
Very much so. We walked back inside and I let the rest of the restaurant patrons know that we were going to lock the door for a little while. If they needed to leave, let us know, but we would like for them to wait until the police could escort them outside in case that person was a danger still, right? So check the safety of the violent person, check the safety of all of the patrons of my restaurant and my staff, right? We definitely cleaned up the mess, right? Because there was glass all over the flat top at that point. So there was you want to know why I am passionate about incident response? That's why. That's why.
Well, I applaud you for de-escalating, but heading outside I'm so glad you're didn't get taken off in a van or something like that.
Oh, no, sir. The end of the sidewalk. So if you've seen a Waffle House unit, they call them like a restaurant,
Right.
Those big pane glass windows. I didn't go around the corner of the building where nobody could see me. I went in front of the windows where everyone could see me, right? In a well-lit area. Like we walked 25 feet from the door kind of thing. And I never got within more than 10 feet of this person. I was doing that body language hurting thing. The closest I got to this person was when I reached way out with my super long orangutan arms. I'm 6 foot tall, by the way. So this is a wingspan we've got going on here, and handed them their cup of coffee and then backed up as I went back to the door. So no. Sorry, I'm not that dumb. I'm not walking into a dark alley with you. It's not happening. But yeah, that's why I enjoy it so much. Rob says the more disaster/incidents you've been through, the more passionate you are about preparation. Yes.
Yeah. So I flip that on the head a little bit. After about your 10th or 15th incident, like full-fledged, full report, turn it over to legal, make sure that you have to report or not, and if it's a breach or not. After about your 10th one, you don't come blasé, but that adrenaline rush takes a lot longer to come to, and that excitement really isn't there. Even so, as a consultant and being a consultant,
Yeah.
I've come in, I've made a good amount of money off instant response. That stuff delivers. It'll shorten your life, but it delivers. Uh, but it's paid for a couple of improvements to my house and a car. But eh, when customers are freaking out and you're like, okay, everything's gonna be okay. Let's stop for a second. Are you physically okay? Okay. What damage has been done? Let's assess this. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. Let's take a deep breath. And there, it's this, and we're going to be, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, got it. We got it. We're going to get our hands around this. We're going to contain this thing, and we're going to start doing some RCA on this. Are you okay? And they keep asking. And I said this earlier, and I think Joseph just came in. So, just one of the things we talked about earlier is that you got to take care of your people. And especially in incident time, you got to, as a manager, when an incident blows up, first thing I do is I look to the team and see who's already stressed. And I remember everyone's faces. Everyone's, because cheeks get red and people start to sweat. It's real weird. But if that changes, if that escalates over the next day or 2 days, or things start going a little sideways, that person gets to go home and sleep. And I do that because it's not a race, it's a marathon.
Oh yeah.
And I don't need to start dragging bodies with me as we do this. So be okay with that. It may seem counterintuitive, but trust me, it'll resolve the incident faster if everyone's can be at 100% without making the errors that are common in incident response.
Yeah. Well, Mark, we're just about out of time here. Meg was thinking the same thing. She just messaged me in our private chat. She's like, "Oh, 3-minute mark." For anybody, I mean, and why shouldn't you? If you're not already connected to Mark on LinkedIn, go do that. Look, you just go to this little QR code, or if you don't trust my QR code, that's fine. Type in Mark's name in LinkedIn and go find him. Okay. Another great thing to follow with is going to be stay up to date with what's going on at Pima. That's going to be the next one. Will and his squirrely students are always up to something amazing. Amazing. All right. Go check them out. See how you can help out. They've got so many great things going on. Will, you need to give me a list of all of the .orgs and all the things, all the people that support you guys, so that we can drive community support there too. I think that would be a great idea, because wasn't there something where you could donate old hardware, all kinds of stuff? Yeah. Yes. And then your company receives tax breaks for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And, and donating to the range too. Any equipment that comes in, then after it goes to the range and it's not useful, then that's when it goes to WeCare. And WeCare is that incredible organization that will try to refurbish things for students, for people who in the community that don't have the resources. And if not, take the recycling and then turn it into money to get healthcare equipment for those that can't afford it. I mean, win all the way around, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, what you're doing is fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic what you're doing everywhere.
We got to pull together, everybody. I mean, that's the core aspect of it. And for my closing aspect of that, go to places like you've heard about here, right? To get those personal skills. If you want to build those personal skills, go out and be with people, right?
Definitely.
If you join that in and then start to meet people that you can share with, that you can glean from, and build those type of relationships, those are all very job relevant skills. And the best way to do it is to get in there and start doing it. You can't do that online as well, right?
Right.
Develop those relationships.
Yep. So if you guys missed the very special episode that we did in the middle of the week, it was just like if you missed it, go back to the YouTube channel, go find it. You can definitely reach out to me. I'll give you the links to the YouTube channel. You can reach out to Meg Jetteta. I say Jetteta because it's spelled with 2 T's. MEGJETT. And we will redirect you to the YouTube channel. You can go check out the episode we did with Mike earlier this week. It was awesome. He's basically a staff CISO for a leg of GE, General Electric, GE. Very cool dude. Next week, we're going to have Sumit Jan from LSU. So Mark's like, hey, I know that guy.
I know that dude.
Yeah. And Sumit goes to be almost every BRSec, huh? He's like, I love him.
He's a core member, absolutely.
Yes,
and a good friend.
Yes, good people. He's going to be on next week. So go follow the Secure Nation. There it is, LinkedIn. There you go. Go be a follower. You'll get all the event updates and all those fun things. And I send out invites every week, so you'll be on that list as well. Thank you, Mark, for coming.
Oh, yeah, this has been fantastic. Thank you. And everyone's wonderful. Thank you for the great questions. Will, you rock. Rachel, you know you rock.
Thanks,
it's been fantastic.
Oh, the pleasure meeting you, sir. Awesome.
Yeah, same.
Very cool.
Same.
We might be able to. Hey, Mark, can I convince you to go to GERCON with us this year? You gonna go?
That's it's on the radar. It's on the radar.
Great. I'll take that. That's good. I'll take it.
Make a lot of pickle jokes.
Be there, and then I can meet you face to face.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Awesome.
Yep. Well, we will see you guys next week. Everybody have a wonderful, awesome weekend. Mark, I can't wait to go to the next BRSec meetup. It's already on my calendar. I know it runs into NOLACon that same week. That's going to be another crazy week this week.
Yeah, it's going to be
exhausted.
It's going to be busy.
So I'm going to have to really keep my energy up for that one. You might see me less vocal, and it's not because I'm not enjoying myself. Okay, friend. It's just because I'm tired.
Well, if only it was within easy driving distance of Tucson, that would be nice.
I know. Next door.
We'll see. Yeah, it's always open. So anytime I know you're not going to be in the neighborhood, but if the far chance you are, you got a spot.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. We will see you guys next week.